what has happened with Abraham Lincoln. Right now, we've learned moments ago that George Washington is getting to the region, is just in the region, and they arrived there. And the main problem with Abraham Lincoln was the supply line,
Mhm.
and they were not supplying the aircraft carrier in a proper way, if I can put it this way, because they said that the Fifth Fleet of the United States in Bahrain was hit and destroyed, and there was no, communication between Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. That was the main problem, which MSNBC reported on that. And the new aircraft carrier is in the region. How do you see the way that Donald Trump? We had Gerald Ford, Abraham Lincoln, and right now George Washington, and one after another they're having some sort of internal mutiny or problems or something like that sort, and they're getting back to the United States. You see the conflict, the way that Donald Trump right now, the face of the war right now is continuation of the blockade, putting tremendous pressure, economic pressure on Iran to crush their economy, destroy their financial system. This is the plan right now. But when it comes to the military part of it, how do you see the situation with the new aircraft carrier and with the other one, the Abraham Lincoln, which left the region?
Well, I heard Besant, finance minister of United States, the guy is absolute in la la land. He doesn't understand that military part is the critical, is the foundation of everything. In this particular case, economic part is the secondary, because obviously United States has been militarily defeated, and it gets back to what it knows only how to do it: indirect strategies, just sabotaging people, so that's the point is, first, Iran, unlike it was previously, is not alone anymore. Period. It's not. Simple as that. Even Iranians themselves point out that Russia supplies a lot of things to Iran right now. China does a lot of things for Iran. And other countries, they see that isolation of Iran has been broken. However, in military part, which Hegseth is incompetent. You cannot prepare cadre officer through ROTC. You just can't. Period. Especially trying to figure out the issues of whatever Pete Hegseth was doing. He was anchorman at Fox or whatever the hell, one of those Goebbelsonian propaganda outlets. He was in Afghanistan. Wow, impressed me. Okay, so that means he never have been through the appropriate, which actually doesn't exist anymore in the United States, even in the level of the service academies, appropriate cadre officer, preparation course, which requires a lot of time, many years, and then of course years of service, that he can grasp what is going on. And as actually just now, the governor of New Jersey, she is a former naval officer, and she is not incorrect. And again, I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican, they're all the same anyhow. But she comes out just, few hours ago, and she says that neither Trump nor Hegseth nor whoever surrounds them, they have any grasp of the military realities, so to speak. And as a result, it's not strategy. And again, United States never could do strategy. Doesn't matter under which president. They just not good at it, okay? And so what is happening now, you run into the operational issue. We know that Gerald Ford is a catastrophe. It's a technological catastrophe. It's the exhibit A of the loss of the American expertise in the building even aircraft carriers, at which United States always was the number one in the world. Since the post World War II. And so who does consult or advise them? Look at them. Those people have no clue what they're dealing with. The information is being sifted such a way. Always was. The United States always was, learning all the wrong lessons. But now it's actually in the open with what happened with Iran. And as a result, their supply lines. Yes, you are correct. They have been, whatever the name of this supply point, the supply base, if you wish, in the Persian Gulf, has been completely destroyed by Iranians. And evidently, Nobody gives any proper orders anymore. I don't know how the system ceases to actually operate in a way, but I I can totally believe, not only believe, I have reasons to suspect that obviously United States simply ran out of the appropriate stores, which is a euphemism for the standoff weapons. The United States doesn't have standoff weapons anymore; it simply ran out of it. Uh, I'm not sure about those JDAMs, those bombs, probably also not good. And as a result, Wall Street Journal calls it U.S. Navy restrained. It's not restrained. It's not restrained. It's actually a lack of resources. And so they run now Abraham Lincoln, of which it's a scandalous when Trump, who is covered and never served a day in his life, talks about, oh yeah, there were longer deployments. Really? Obviously, we can see now that people openly state parents of the kid, sailors, and sailors themselves say that essentially they were basically hungry. They were starving. They need average 20. They were getting what people say. Again, make no mistake, I'm not there, but 2,500 calories a day for the young guy, especially who is especially some deck cycle, and who work in all those hangars, serving the aircraft, and you need to have a lot of calories, at least twice, 5,000. Young body, a lot of physical effort. Essentially, they were starving them, and now who is going to be responsible for that? I don't know. Some people say it's Democrats against, Republicans and against Trump. Well, that's fine. The political prostitution is a normal, state of the affairs anymore. But the point is, the problem is there. And Washington now, George Washington, which is going there, I don't know whose carrier battle group, what kind of the squadron of the destroyers actually supports it. But after what happened with Bamford, this is it's not a new ship. I mean, it's one of the first Arleigh class, Flight 2, I believe. It's 30 plus years old, and 4 days, 96 hours without power. That means literally nothing. You just drift, just afloat, and whatever happens. Something is going on there, which will look at essentially the delays in the appropriate maintenance, docking, repairs and things of this nature for Navy, which is being abused. It's not used. American concept of the sea control is altogether obsolete. It's downright obsolete. And so they now try to use this World War II ideas, of the carrier air power with escorts against the country which can sink the aircraft carrier if it really decides to do so. And so we have this situation. It's a cluster coitus. And now I looked up the oil price this morning. It's high, very high, and they have no other option as to go and these are convulsions of the essentially empire. So they want to now strangle it economically. Okay, try it. They tried before that. You know what? How many years? 47, 1979. So that's when the Islamic Revolution had happened there. And obviously Iran has been, basically sanctioned and isolated by the whole world, including by the Soviet Union, by the way. But the point is that Russia and Iran now are strategic allies, and it's up to Iran really how it wants to also deepen those relations. But Russia is helping, China is helping, and Iran is not alone. And I do not want to pretend that there are no problems. There are problems. There are hardships in Iran. There are definitely economic impact. But again, that's how Iran lived for the last 46 years. They just got used to it. And now, again, Iranian officials come out yesterday, I believe, and say, oh, no, Russia supplies us with a lot of oil. And okay, they have this wonderful thing now. That's what many people do not understand. They have Caspian Sea. And Caspian Sea means what? The direct sea route between Russia and Iran, apart from the Turkmenistan branch of the railroad through Kazakhstan. But these are unreliable people. But Caspian Sea, and Russians built a lot of vessels specifically for the container and other transportation between Astrakhan, for example, and even Makhachkala and Derbent to Iran. And so it's different. And no matter what they do, Iran defeated United States militarily. Simple as that.
Andrei, as you mentioned, Scott Bessent moments ago said he doesn't know what's going on with the price of oil. It's going all of a sudden.
The guy's a complete idiot. I mean, this is just unbelievable.
But it's amazing, Andrei, after all, watching what's going on and looking at the way that the United States has been fighting and is fighting right now with the use of these aircraft carriers, Andrei. These are little islands, and they don't even need to sink one of them. If they destroy some part of it, it's gonna be useless.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's niche weapon system. Now, all this, you cannot defend it. You can't. All those, anybody who talks to me, I mean, like, oh, SM-6, Aegis, Spy 6, garbage. You cannot stop hypersonic or even the salvo of the supersonic anti-shipping missile, period. You can't. And so, and especially if you're talking about real hypersonic weapons such as 3M22 Zircon, they're not gonna see it even, until it's too late. So, are they good for what? Well, something like Venezuela. Okay, you get yourself LHD and aircraft carrier as the center, so to speak, pivot of the carrier battle group, and amphibious force with those LHDs. You get those helicopters, all those CIA and special forces, whatever the Greenberg, whatever the name of them, doesn't matter. Do their job. They buy out the politicians. Okay, not still really. Venezuela sold the president, so that's the only way it can work. In terms of getting into the neck of the woods, having the asset, which is together with their air wing, is around average. I'm not talking about like Ford, 13 billion, just the hull itself, the system. Then add air wing, 80 aircraft, each of them depending on up to $100 million. So add this. So you have $20 billion roughly, which you put into some harm's way, and then some people with lovely anti-shipping missiles say, oh, that's good. I'm gonna get myself order and all those wonderful, basically bonuses. Let's launch 8, missiles which are supersonic and can maneuver and what are you gonna do? Oh yeah, they will shoot down probably a couple. If it's hypersonic, they're not gonna see. They will not even react. They don't have weapon systems. Bang! What do you have? You have a catastrophe, and that's the whole thing. In the United States, and I've been on it for so many years, they equate, which is normal for economy, which is built around Wall Street Journal and those degree mills from the Ivy League. That means they produce people who have no clue what they're talking about. They equate the price of the thing with its combat effectiveness. And so they learn now it's worthless. Their whole worldview is wrong. And if, as I already stated, in the special military operation, they could hide behind all this, Ukrainian 3 million killed. Well, yeah, that's fine. That's how they fight. Now they cannot do this because it's in the open in terms that everybody can see it. And so there is now this idea, which is not idea, this is what happened, that, oh my God, special military operation and Iranian war are tied. Of course they are tied. Of course it is. It's the broad front of which I was talking about for years now, that, this is the dying empire, very incompetent, lacking capability, real capability, which matters, which counts for that towards the political ends of the campaign. You can again, my video, which should come up, after we're done here, talks about it. They have no clue. They think that they're learning some tactical minutia. Somehow they understand operational art or operations. They don't. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. They operate within this rigid system, which has been defined and essentially shaped by all kinds of losers, from Wehrmacht to, winning US Navy, which still is stuck in its concept in the World War II, essentially, effectively, just slightly modified. And that's the result. We see what we see.
Do you see, Andrei, the way that the United States could somehow manage the use of aircraft carriers, the way that would be effective? I'm talking about, we had, at least during the war, during the peak of the war, it was something like 3 of them in the region cooperating with each other during the 40-day war, which started on February 28th. And right now, is one of them is there. How much for this blockade that is happening, which is the basis, the foundation of what Donald Trump tries to do against Iran? This economic pressure, financial pressure is part of that operation that they're doing in the Persian Gulf. How long can they continue with the blockade, in your opinion? Because militarily, sooner or later, I would assume, because the way that in Iran they're talking about, that sooner or later they're going to hit the United States in some way or another. It's unavoidable in their mind.
I don't know. It's again depending on what blockade means. If they're gonna be getting involved in some kind of the shooting activity, there is, as I already stated, there are very serious reasons to assume that they are simply out of the stocks of the weapons, which essentially the foundation of those ideas of how United States fights the war, how it fights the war. Oh, okay, you move the carrier battle group into the position. Okay, those 2-3 destroyers of the Arleigh Burke class unload whatever, each of them about 40 Tomahawk missiles or whatever their salvo they make. Oh, shock and all, and then of course you begin to rotate your deck cycle. And what do? Okay, you have JASSMs. Okay, F-18 carries JASSMs. Okay, this is a good missile, a subsonic. It's essentially the variant of the Tomahawk missile. I mean, it's stealthy and things of this nature. It's all same old. Okay, different types of the guidance and pretty much very similar. So, okay, they need to get to the what is called Rubesh Puska, or the launch line, so which is, of course, preferably beyond the air defense complexes. Launch it, turn around, go back, reload, and they are rotated. But how many of those missiles do they have? We know that they ran out of them, with the exception of what is called untouchable, stores. You just cannot touch it, because otherwise you will be completely, without any kind of striking power. That's it. This is the only thing they have. Okay, they may pull one remaining, a higher class SSGN, which was actually used to be the strategic missile submarines. But first 4 hulls of the sub, which are old ones, really, they are really old subs, have been converted to the, carriers of Tomahawks. Okay, 146 Tomahawks. Okay, launch them. The country, the size of Iran, and and how many of them are of those Tomahawks are actually, evidently, they have this propensity for being, breaking a lot, So that's it. What's left? Okay, let's repeat. They repeated. What's left? And then suddenly, oh my gosh, we have like whatever, few Tomahawks and few JASSMs, if any. And many people do not remember. And this is what, again, in 1999. And listen, Serbia, Yugoslavia, essentially, the Serbia, was it's a small place, actually, all things considered. By the 78th day, they were running out of the Tomahawk air launch. At that time, they had the air launched Tomahawk missiles. They were just literally running all out of them. After that, what do you have to do? You have to start operation, ground operation. They were afraid. Mr. Clark, whatever this perfume princess, who a genocidal guy, he can tell whatever he wants to talk. But United States Army wasn't ready to fight in mountains, in Balkans. Well, Serbian army was, until it was, of course, betrayed by Serbian politicians and people who supported them. But the rest of it, I mean, that's Serbia. This is Iran. This is 93 million population, most of which will take up arms. Apart from the fact that they have the really decent regular army with good level, firepower. So, what are you gonna do? That's the whole point. What? Evidently, now they do not want to fight. Of course, they do not want to fight. They do not want to fight because of the success. They do not want to fight because they have nothing to fight with. And least of all, their moral and, basically morale and cohesion of the troops, who now write all those messages on the ailerons of the plane, understanding what they got themselves into, have been gotten by Trump administration. Serving Israel, which they are serving Israel. United States armed forces doesn't have, United States doesn't have U.S. armed forces anymore. These are Israeli armed forces. As there is no U.S. Congress, this is Knesset 2.0. United States have been utterly corrupted by Israeli lobby, and you know what? That's the end of it. And many people still cannot come to terms the fact that each day they go to the store. I do, not each day, but I go to the stores. I'm not blind. I can see what is happening with the prices of meat, other products, eggs, and things like that. I can see what is happening on the gas stations. These are the things which constitute the normal living conditions for people. Well, guess what? It's going to get much worse. And for Europe, it's pretty much done. It's over for them. So these are all the result of all this, what I call cluster coitus, which is happening around the Western world, led by the United States. Now, Europeans, being who they are, they try to kind of find their own way how they will commit suicide. But United States, that's the situation. It will get much worse. Trump knows this. He senses it. They're a bunch of morons and nincompoops who run around there. They know they are, their elections, midterms. It doesn't matter. Democrats will come, they will still screw the country the same way, just different kind of type of the coitus, so to speak, So, and that's what is happening. You cannot fix, essentially, what had happened to the United States, which completely lost any kind of standing. Militarily, it's a paper tiger, and economically, we can see what is happening economically. Apart from the fact, we just crossed recently $40 trillion national debt. Somebody has to serve it. Who? While these morons pass the 1.5 trillion defense budget, which still will produce nothing but the expensive junk, and these people have no clue. Pentagon has no clue what they are looking at. No, I mean it. It's literally few here and there people of the top brass who understand the situation. They have no bearing whatsoever on the decision-making process. And you have literally this, as correctly the New Jersey governor stated, he has this from this Marvel comic books. That's the understanding of by Pete Hegseth what war is. Evidently, by all indications, this is also how top brass and Pentagon understands what war is. Comic books of Marvel, superpowers, whatever the hell. I'm not specialist in Marvel universe, so all those superpowers, the rays of death, what have you. So that's pretty much it.